All right, so I want to talk about Leo Santa Cruz. Leo Santa Cruz got a decision win over Miguel Flores. I did not hear the scores because I was on Marlowe's corner. Basically, I was on Marlowe's corner on the panel, so I had to keep my TV turned down. So I didn't hear the scores. I don't know if it was a majority decision, split decision, or unanimous decision. But I do know that Leo Santa Cruz got the W. And that was a tough fight. You know, Leo Santa Cruz, I felt like he won like 7 rounds in the fight. I mean, not 7 rounds, like 9 rounds in the fight. But I also felt like there were a lot of very close rounds that were kind of like pick'em rounds. I just didn't like Flores backing up as much as he was. And that's what allowed me to continuously give rounds to Leo Santa Cruz. I felt like he was controlling real estate. I felt like every time Leo Santa Cruz would land shots on Sejas on Flores in combination, Flores would either tie him up or he would retreat. He didn't really want to exchange very much on the inside, but when he was actually doing good work, he would get in, land some shots, and then he would get out and go on a retreat, or he would grab Leo Santa Cruz in those situations as well. So that kind of allowed me to, in the way I scored the fight, I kind of kept giving those rounds to Santa Cruz because he was doing the same work, but he was also coming forward and landing, you know, seemed to be landing the more significant shots in exchanges. But that said, after the fight, Leo Santa Cruz finally said he wants to fight Gary Russell Jr. and he said he wants to fight Tank Davis. He said basically that he would stay at 130 if Tank was willing to come down to 130 and fight him, but he was also willing to go up to 135 and fight Tank. Well, we know Gary Russell Jr. fights at 126. Gary Russell Jr. may be willing to come up to 130 and fight Leo Santa Cruz since Leo is finally wanting to fight him, but I don't see Gary Russell Jr. coming up to 135. So if Leo is intending on going up to 135 for a fight with Tank, which we know is going to be probably his biggest payday, then, and I think the rumors are that they're talking about potentially making that a pay-per-view fight. If that's the case, we know that Gary Russell Jr. isn't coming up to 135. So all of that is just, you know, posturing. You know, you can't say you want to fight a guy that fights at 126, the division you just left, when you never said you wanted to fight him when he was at 126. But now that he's moving up to, now that you moved up to 130 and talking about moving up to 135, you're talking about you want to fight him. But I will say this: Leo Santa Cruz stays at 130 and Gary Russell Jr. moves up. I think it may bode better for Leo Santa Cruz than it would have at 126, just because Russell's going to have to put on that extra weight to come into that fight. But I still think the same reasons that Gary Russell Jr. beats him at 126, he'll beat him at 130. I think 135 may be too much for Gary Russell Jr. though, too big a jump. And I will say that if Tank comes back down to 130, I think he runs over Leo Santa Cruz. If Tank stays at 135 and Leo Santa Cruz comes to meet him, I think Tank runs over Leo Santa Cruz. So the plus is that Leo Santa Cruz has called out 2 guys that he's going to have to actually fight his ass off to have a chance to stay in the fight with. And the downside to that for him, I don't think he can beat either guy under any circumstance. You know, because like I said, I don't see him making a fight at 135 with Gary Russell. So if he goes to 135, it's going to be Tank. Should Tank get past Gamboa? And should he stay at 130? Maybe Gary Russell Jr. comes up to 130 and fights him. You know, Leo definitely said he didn't entertain going back down to 135. I mean, excuse me, 126. So that's not going to happen. But let's see if there's going to be any action put behind what Leo's saying. You know, because I'm not going to crap on the Tank fight. I'm not going to sit there and say that if he fights Tank at 135, then I can't give him credit, because I think Leo fighting Tank at any division, whether it's 130 or 135, is a dangerous fight for him. I have to give him credit for that. And I think that will be definitely a situation where he knows that either fight's a tough fight, but the Gary Russell Jr. fight is not as lucrative as the Tank Davis fight. But I'm not going to criticize him for going up to fight Tank Davis and not fighting Gary Russell Jr. because I feel like both fights are dangerous for Leo. I think Leo will be the underdog in both of those fights. So, you know, and maybe not Gary Russell Jr. just because of, you know, a lot of people don't want. For boxing fans, people who watch boxing on a regular basis, I think Gary Russell Jr. would be favored. But I think more casuals know who Leo Santa Cruz is, so that may sway the way the betting comes in. So Leo could end up being a betting favorite over Gary Russell. But I don't think he's going to be a favorite to win that fight by people who know boxing. But either way, I'm glad Leo Santa Cruz is going to actually step up and, you know, could potentially be stepping up fighting one of these guys. And I definitely want to see it. It's D-Lo 404 Boxing. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. I'm out. Peace.